Welcome into Mississippi State Bulldogs Live here on the Voice of College Football Network, your home of the Vulgarity National Champions in college football. We have hung the banner, as you can see. Mississippi State takes home a championship, Alex.
Yeah, I was surprised about those rankings, and then I looked at the methodology and seen that was mostly from Reddit comments, and I was like, yeah, I mean, Mississippi State fans have been mad over this couple of seasons, but
it stayed in Arkansas up at the top.
Yeah, like
shocker.
Yeah, if you go to a game, we all know who would win that contest easily.
Yeah, no, as you mentioned, there's nothing quite like a trip to LSU.
Yeah,
and like I've been twice, and I've seen it both times. The second time, it wasn't so much getting sworn at; it was more just an annoying fan who was trying to get it within my group, and he thinks he was being funny, but he was just being very annoying. We were also mad because that was the game Nick Fitzgerald threw 4, should have been 5 interceptions. In 2018. But my first time going there in 2016, my greeting, because this is, State had lost to USA in week 1. The first greeting I get was some like LSU frat boy, looked like a freshman, which I was a freshman in college, so I shouldn't be judging. Who looked like a freshman? He's like, F Mississippi State, Tiger Bait, South Alabama. And that was the first thing said to me. And then I had a 7-year-old call me Tiger Bait.
It's different down there.
Yeah.
It was funny, though, because the BYU was last, and I was like, that tracks. That does track from what I've heard of playing games at BYU. So that was interesting.
I got to say, BYU, say whatever you will about the university and all those other things. But for a school where, obviously they don't drink, being Mormons, their state, they get loud at their games.
That's what I've heard.
Like they create a really tough place to play for football and for basketball. So as much as everybody likes to talk about, like, oh man, you give LSU fans or Tennessee fans all day to liquor up and it's going to be crazy. Like, I'm not saying BYU is as intimidating an environment as those places, but for a place where they specifically will not drink and have chocolate milk tailgates, like that's a real thing they'll do. Yeah. They get pretty rowdy. So shout out to them for that. All right. That was some fun off the top. It is the call-in show. Opportunity for you guys to come be a part of the action. We have a link down in the description of the video, also pinned to the top of the live chat. So if you guys want to come be a part of the stream, we would love to have you, and we'll talk about whatever. We don't really have a set topic for this show. We didn't plan anything specific to get into. At this point, we'll probably chat. We're just going to chat a little bit about Mississippi State ball. I guess there is some MSU news, but so we'll address that. I literally just remembered that they did add a player to the roster. So I'll get that stuff pulled up here in a sec. But yeah, just our final thoughts. Obviously, earlier in the week we did our full predictions for the season, talking about the offense, the defense, and then just our record predictions. So you can go back and check that stuff out. I know the videos for the offensive and defensive predictions are live on the channel. I'd imagine the record prediction, that video will go live very soon, or you can just go back to the last stream and find where we talked about it there. But yeah, we've made our thoughts very clear on this team for quite some time, but it's sort of our last chance. Last Thursday was going to be an opportunity for you guys to come and give us your thoughts on the Bulldogs for this year, your predictions. So we're still going to be taking more of those if you guys want to call in, or if you just want to drop stuff in the chat and give us our thoughts there, or any questions you guys have. Like, it's your opportunity to steer the conversation wherever you want this to go. And I will urge people to do that, especially because we don't have a set plan for what to talk about tonight. Yeah. We will do our week 0 picks. As we get throughout the season, Thursday nights will be an opportunity for us to do a little pick 'em. We'll be picking mostly SEC games, as well as maybe some of the top games in college football each week. But as we have week 0, no SEC teams in action, only 8 games in action, we're going to just go through each of those, give our picks, and we'll tally up at the end of the year, see who was the better prognosticator for the season. So pretty laid-back show tonight, but still happy to be here, happy to have you guys on. So if you could, leave us a like, comment down below, subscribe to the channel if you already have those notifications turned on, and be sure to tell all the State fans you have in your life about what we're doing here at the channel. Tell them that they can come check us out Mondays at 6 p.m. Central Time and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Central Time. Also, post-game, it's not listed on here. I need to update that as we're getting into football season. We will have post-game live shows here on the channel. At least me. Some weeks Alex will be in and out on that, but we'll be recapping whatever happens with the Bulldogs. And it should be, if you were here last year, sometimes it was like an hour and a half before I was able to really go live because I had some other stuff I had to get done after the games. I may be a little bit more free this time around. In fact, I will be more free this time around to kind of just get the stream fired up right away. So once games end, I'll kind of just, gather my thoughts, and then we'll be live on the channel reacting to whatever happens. So definitely going to want to have you guys in here for that, just our instant reaction to whatever happens throughout football season. Again, it's a great time to come be a part of the channel. We've had some great growth over the past couple of months here. I think adding Alex has been a big part of that, having the good back and forth of the channel, just him being able to get some other people to tune in, as well as I think we're putting out some good content that people are wanting to tune into. So that's helped grow things. We want to keep that rolling. So Mississippi State did add a player through the transfer portal, former West Virginia defensive lineman. And I don't have his name up in front of me because I forgot to pull this up ahead of time.
Is it Eddie Kelly Jr.?
Yes. I was getting here's the story. From Gene's page. Eddie Kelly Jr. comes to Mississippi State. One of these guys where now there is briefly another year of eligibility with the whole fifth year for class of 2022. Not a guy that was involved in pro camps as far as I can tell. So that's the other thing here. Malik Silla and Jerron Manning. I know we did get the news, I think, was it this morning, that they fired a lawsuit in Oktibbeha County courts to get eligible. This obviously comes in wake of the SEC saying that any players who have signed any sort of a pro deal, you can't, like whatever league, not European basketball players, but aside from that, you cannot return to college. That's already being challenged. The state of Louisiana specifically, of course, it's the state of Louisiana challenging that. But it certainly sounds like Jerron Manning already said that he's exploring the opportunity to go play somewhere else. I'm sure Silla will do the same. Those guys aren't going to be a part of Mississippi State this year. That being said, Eddie Kelly is one of these guys who would have the opportunity to come back and play. 6'5", 288-pound defensive lineman. Started in the G6 ranks before going up to Georgia Tech. Then he was at Missouri, and then this last year at West Virginia. So it's his fifth school in 5 years. Last year with the Mountaineers, he had 35 tackles, 3 pass deflections, and 2 sacks. I don't know if those numbers are right. Let me find that. Half a sack last season. Okay, yeah. 25 total tackles, 1.5 tackles for loss, half a sack, 3 passes broken up. In 2024 with Missouri, 20 tackles, 4.5 tackles for loss there with 1 sack, 1 quarterback hurry, so a little bit more productive that season. 38 tackles at Georgia Tech, 5 tackles for loss, 1.5 sacks with 2 passes broken up, 1 quarterback hurry. So this is a guy that previously has actually been able to create a little bit of disruption at some of these previous stops. It was just last year at West Virginia. I think he had 4 starts on the season, didn't put up massive numbers. Look, at this point in the game, is this guy stepping in to be a big-time contributor for Mississippi State? It's highly unlikely, especially in the fact that it's not even fully settled that he is – they still have some eligibility things to work through here. Now, he should be covered by the fifth-year rule and having not played any contracts, but they still have some things to work through here. So he's not fully locked in just yet to be able to help Mississippi State. The season also starts next week. He's never played in Zach Arnett's defense. There's a whole lot for him to catch up on. Perfect world is that you get him up to – he is eligible. You get him up to speed, and then as you get into the season, he becomes a body that you can rotate in. But, look, State did lose Colin Coates for the year. And not that Coates was expected to be a major contributor for this team, but still, that's a body on the defensive line. There's a position group you have to rotate. So essentially, Eddie Kelly steps in as, and this is no shot at Coates, a guy that is a more productive and more proven player at the defensive line spot to rotate through. So there's no harm here in adding them. I did see Sports Talk, Michael Borky did make the comment that, now, if you are bringing him in and you're expecting him to have to be a guy for you, that would become a problem. Yeah. But obviously, State's not expecting that. This seems like a really solid pickup at this point in the game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just somebody that's played a couple of years. I mean, Just played a couple games, has a lot of not a lot of starts, just a lot of experience. So just a good to have in the D-line room, maybe just a rotational piece. I don't expect him to be just some breakout all-SEC player, but when one person goes down, it's still a decent ad, especially from somebody that's worked his way up and has some production. So it's not a bad ad.
Yeah, again, perfect world. He gets up to speed. It can be someone that can give you some solid reps as a depth piece. But I think State probably feels pretty good about at least they're two deep on the D-line. Now, obviously, the question really is the backup for the edge spot behind Amari Williams. Who can emerge there? Obviously, Champ James, Tyshawn Willis are guys who are possibilities there. There's been some talk that Gus Cordova could maybe slip over there as well, even though he's more of a true defensive end, like a hand-in-the-dirt type guy. But between, Will Whitson, Jeray Bledsoe, Dalen Evans, Calvin Dinkins, Trevion Williams, DJ Reed, Diesel Moy, they've got guys they're fine with. But obviously, you still need to be able to rotate bodies as much as possible. But, yeah, so a good addition at this point of the game. Not presently expecting him to be a contributor for Mississippi State. Comment here from Dog Pound Rockin'. A little bit of a prediction here. I think we can win 6 with a loss to Auburn, but we upset somewhere that saves Levy. But if it doesn't work out, what are your top 3 way too early replacements? Mullen, Lincoln Riley, if he's let's go. Man, we got to the end of last episode and started talking about some candidates, which feels very for both of us seem pretty optimistic for this team to have a decent year. And yet the question was asked, look, Lincoln Riley would not happen. I think even if he was let go, I think Riley would be the type of coach that would look to either take like a coordinator role somewhere. I wouldn't rule out still the coordinator possibility for the NFL with him, even with his offense. He's kind of lost his luster. His opportunities to do that may have been passed, but I still think somebody would take a chance there. I don't think he would come and take a head coaching job at Mississippi State if Levy didn't work out. I'm not a hater of the idea with Mullen. I don't think it would. I don't know that it would happen. I will say, as someone who does keep up with the coaching carousel quite a bit, there's not a lot of candidates that I think would fire up Mississippi State fans. I'll say that. I don't think the flashy candidate is out there this year. Now, some of those guys might emerge. That is part of it, with some, especially when talking about some of the up and comers. You're going to get coaches who have big years, and suddenly people start talking about it in a different way. But I don't know if those guys are out there. Ideally, we're not talking about that, though. Yeah. Ideally, Mississippi State just has a fine year, and you're not talking about having to make a change. But certainly, I understand why that's on people's minds.
Yeah, I can't really. There's some intriguing coaching potential, but I don't even want to even say potential. But it's just like, is it worth it? Because some maybe only really guy I can really think of, and I don't know his background. Probably may get a lot of buzz.
I forget about G.J. Kinney, which is crazy because a couple years ago there was a group of us who were pushing for him. I like Kinney a lot. There is a chance for them to have a very good year. They've got some key guys back. Their quarterback is also very, very good.
Very good.
He's one of those that if he has a big year is probably in line, like in the same way that an Eric Morris, Alex Golesh, we're talking about last year, is like these up-and-coming brilliant offensive minds. Kinney's that next one with a big year. So that would be a guy you maybe look at. But to this point, he's kind of just had bowl seasons at his school, which, to be fair, Alex Golesh was only going to bowls in South Florida prior to his last year when they won 9. They still didn't have but he also beat Florida, which was a big part of things for them. Yeah. So Kenny takes on Texas week 1. So, hey, go take down Arch and the Longhorns. Maybe we're
that conversation will be a lot different then.
I will say with Kenny, the talk there is if Baylor does what people is expected, there's a lot of – there is another Baylor thing that I've talked about with Alex, but we won't go there just yet. Especially because I won't go there because it was inside information on a pay-for podcast that I'm not a subscriber to that somebody shared with me. So
you did mention that. He did not mention that.
Well, look, I mean, some of this stuff goes around. Like it is what it is. But out of respect for the guy who does it, I will put it publicly on the podcast. Hail State to you, Sven. Glad to have you here. Yeah, what I would say on the coaching front, if State had to make a move, and again, I hate doing this because I want to be optimistic right now. I think there's a lot of guys who I think there's a ton of coaches who, if they got power conference opportunities, SEC opportunities, they would be very good.
Yeah,
the problem is how is the fan base and more importantly your boosters going to receive things, because this is no offense to Mississippi State's fans or boosters. This applies to literally every school in the country.
Yes.
Fans and boosters do not look at things through the right lens when it comes to coaching hires. They have like these very specific check marks where if this guy has not done X, Y, and Z, he can't be the coach at my school. And those check marks usually come down to every fan believing my school can win a national championship someday. Yeah. And that leads to a lot of good coaches like that. All right, an example, Sean Lewis, and Sven will get you in here in a sec. Sean Lewis at Kent State, going 5-7 at Kent State is doing really freaking good at Kent State when you consider that his non-conference slate every single year, they were going to go play Oklahoma, Penn State, and Georgia, go get beat by 50, and then have some FCS team to beat. And it's like, okay, you're only getting one win in the non-con. You have to go 5-3 in your conference as one of the least resourced teams within your conference in order to go to a bowl game. And he went to multiple bowl games while he was there. Oh, and naturally, hey, he's having success at San Diego State. That's like an example. Another MAC coach. There's a lot of these guys in the MAC. Thomas Hammock, and I know he's off to the NFL now with the Seahawks as running backs coach.
Northern Illinois.
The NIU coach he faced last year. And I'm not just saying this because he gives like good press conferences where, he gets people fired up. Hammock is a very good coach.
Yeah.
Like he has been, but he's one of those guys where he hasn't won big. I think he did have one year they won the MAC. Like I think they slipped into the MAC title game, and like he did. It wasn't a big year. They had like 5 losses or something. But
they beat Notre Dame.
Well, that did happen too.
Beat Notre Dame.
No, like Hammock is a very good coach, but you have to. If those guys don't have big time records, a lot of programs don't recognize. So if we get more coaching stuff, we'll get to it. But that's as far as we'll go for now. Sven, how's it going?
Good morning. I looked up a little bit. Yeah, it's 2:18 in the morning. Yeah, I have to practice. It's football time. I mean, the first game starts Saturday morning, 6 o'clock. Idaho against Cal Poly at 6 in the morning.
True second.
So, and the last game I watch starts 10 p.m. Pacific time. What is 6 on Sunday morning? It's a 24-hour ride for us here in Germany.
Is that Stanford, Hawaii?
Yeah. But they play at Stanford. Listen, Andrew. I looked up a little bit Minnesota. Did you know that Minnesota was unbeaten last year at home?
I did know that.
7-0.
Yeah.
I mean, they got beaten pretty bad by the 3 good teams they played, by Ohio State, by Oregon, and I think Iowa.
They got blown out.
Yeah, I think it was Iowa. So, but I mean, Mississippi State ain't no Oregon or Ohio State. And we have a true freshman as a quarterback. I mean, he played a little bit, but I mean, Kamari Taylor played a little bit. This will be a hard task. And if we lose at Minnesota, the next week, we have to go to South Carolina. And this is the critical game. I mean, I don't see us beating Minnesota. I really don't. They are an 8-5 team in the best conference in football, in the Big Ten. I mean, like Minnesota, they lose to Oregon and Ohio State. I mean, we play Alabama and Georgia 100 times and win maybe once or twice. It is what it is. Yeah. So. And
go ahead.
But they are really, really good at home. It's not the biggest stadium in the world, but I see us beating ULM, losing to Minnesota, a close one in the 30s. It's a high-scoring game. And if we want to make a bowl game, we have to beat South Carolina. We have to beat Auburn. We have to beat Wendy. And we have to take out Ole Miss.
Yeah.
So, I don't, because in October, I don't see us winning a game. I mean, maybe if Lane Kiffin is 3-5 at this point and quits on LSU, nobody knows, but I don't see it. I mean, Levitt is not a good quarterback here, and he handed us the game last year against Arizona State. So, but the critical point is the South Carolina game, because Minnesota, are they good? No, but are they good at home? Yes, really good. I mean, 7-0 at home in the Big Ten. That's not a fluke.
It's not, but I do want to give some context here and comment here from Joshua Wright. Only had one win against a team with winning record. So last season at home, they played Buffalo from the MAC, which was a losing MAC team.
Yeah.
They played Northwestern State, an FCS team. They beat Rutgers 31-28. Rutgers went 5-7. They beat Purdue 27-20. Purdue was awful. They did beat Nebraska 24-6. And that was a Nebraska team that went to a bowl. Nebraska was not great last year, but still a bowl team. They beat Michigan State 23-20. That was a bad Michigan State team. They beat Wisconsin 17-7. That was a bad Wisconsin team. I'm not discounting winning at home. And again, it's not an easy place to play. But what I will say is, they were certainly fortunate for some of the games they had. Now, look, the year before, they went on the road and beat a ranked Illinois team. They beat USC at home, which USC, again, was not great, but it was still USC with USC talent. So don't get me wrong. They're definitely capable. I don't mean to try to sound like I'm diminishing them a little bit, but
no,
I do think their record was a bit inflated last year. And to your point about the Big Ten, while I agree the Big Ten, with what they've done at the top of the league, if you want to declare them number one, I'm perfectly fine with that. Not going to push back. But, and this is not, I don't think this is SEC homerism. I do think the teams in the bottom half of the SEC are still better teams than some of the bottom half Big Ten teams. It's maybe not as wide of a gap as it once was.
This is correct. This is absolutely correct. I mean, a Mississippi State would beat a Northwestern or Purdue. I'm pretty damn sure about this. So, but what the Big Ten have, they have 3 real contenders, and the SEC has 1, and that's the Georgia Bulldogs. I don't count Steve Sarkisian as a contender, horns down. I mean, all he does is he jokes it away. The first minute he sees a real big boy team. The only big time win Steve Sarkisian has in his whole career at Texas was the win on the road in Tuscaloosa at Alabama when they played back-to-back, home and home, when Texas still was in the Big 12. And this is the only win against a serious elite program Steve Sarkisian ever had in his whole career as a head coach. And that's not a contender for me.
I hear you, and I believe, man, I understand the doubts people have with Sark and the doubts people have with Texas. I've been heavy on the Texas Kool-Aid this offseason just because I do want to say the last time I bought in this heavily for Texas was 2023, and that team did go to the playoff. And I get they lost a couple big games, but they did win the Big 12, go to the playoff that year. I think the talent this year is almost too big to fail for them. And to be clear, I understand Texas is always talented. I think it's a different type of talent this year. But again, I understand if you want to doubt Sark, there is a point to be had. Until Sark beats Kirby, you probably can't trust him to do it. And I don't blame anybody for taking that stance.
It's not only Kirby. I mean, I see Ohio State walk into the DKR Stadium or whatever the name is in this place and beats the shit out of Texas. They will beat them by 2 touchdowns.
That might change this year, but it is a little different. I mean,
it could. Like, they went into Columbus though and lost by 7. Their offense couldn't do anything. And I think this year's I think that Ohio State team was probably better than this one.
Yeah,
it might be
defensively.
It might be defensively for sure. Now, offensively, you can make a case that another year for Ohio State, especially Julian saying year 2 is the starter.
Yeah, with Arthur Smith, I think they'll be a juggernaut on offense this year, honestly. But maybe worried about defense. But
Spin, I don't mean to cut you off if you have anything else you want to say, but like we started talking about Ohio State, and that just makes the Arthur Smith thing is fascinating to me because Arthur Smith's whole MO is like the multi-tight end sets and all of that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And Ohio State did some of that last year because they had like 2 really good tight ends. Well, both those guys are gone. And like I think they did bring in a transfer they like quite a bit. And I'm not saying he can't adapt, but I'm curious to see how Ohio State goes about that if they do more of the multi-tight end stuff this year. That's interesting.
What I don't like on the Texas team is this offensive line.
It is a concern. I think
this is the biggest concern on Texas team every year. Do you remember when Georgia went to Texas and beat them by 15? I mean,
they blitzed the crap out of him all night.
Yours ran for his life. They took him out, and Arch got sacked in the first 10 minutes 6 times or something like that. It was unbelievable. I mean, and Texas has money, endless money, and they can't get an offensive line.
I mean, that's everybody, though. that is a lot of teams. That's like 95% of all the teams. Yeah,
I do think their line will be better this year. Now, obviously, Gooseby, is he even going to play against Ohio State? That it's a concern. But if Gooseby does play, he's a potential first-round pick. Melvin Siani, opposite of him, is another potential first-round pick. They brought in Lawrence Seymour to address, like, their issue last year was, like, their left guard, whoever that was awful. It was a revolving door there. They brought in Seymour to handle that. Apparently, he's picked it up well. They seem to think their line is playing really well in camp, which
is that the Western Kentucky tackle?
He is.
Yeah.
And it is interesting because he didn't come up until like after the summer. So that might be questionable, but we'll see.
And the best example of what an offensive line can do is Miami. I mean, they had freaking Carson Beck as quarterback, who is decent to good, but not more. So, but they had the best offensive line there was in the past 5 years. There's absolutely no question. There were 2 or 3 first-round picks, a second-round pick, and they're all gone.
Yeah, but I'm not worried about that.
And they did carry them. This offensive line was amazing. Anyway, guys, I see Mississippi State at the end of the day 5-7.
Okay. So, I think that's totally fair.
Yeah.
And I see Jeff Lebby gone.
Also think that can happen at 5-7. Yeah. So
I will make a call to Duke and bring Manny Diaz to Starkville. Manny Diaz.
That was another one that was another
about it.
One that we were talking about. That was another one.
I mean, Dan Mullen can't return after the Florida thing. That's impossible. Nobody, no local wants him there. I don't care.
I think a lot of people do.
Yeah, there's a lot of people
now,
that do.
I think there's a guy in charge of the university who would say no to it, which is obviously that's a big part of it. But
Mr. Keenum. Mr. Keenum will not take him. Anyway, guys, I hope we win next week. And Hail State from Berlin, Germany.
Hail State, Sven, get a good night's sleep.
I stay for half an hour in the chat and I kick me out.
Yeah. I know Sven's got to be gearing up because I didn't even think about that because, man, that's got to be wild. Like knowing that, all right, if I'm going to watch these games, I'm up all night. Great
some
stuff.
of those overseas football fans, they're just as passionate as over here, so it's amazing.
Absolutely. A couple comments here. Joshua Scruggs, Hail State, cautiously optimistic for this year. And Levy as a Bulldog, I love a good underdog story. I think it would be awesome if Lev turns it around. 100%. And it is weird. I know we've been talking about because we got asked about coaches who you may look to, but I think Levy's going to be back because I think they're going to win the way that they would like to. Dog Pound Rock and Minnesota plays on Friday, week 1. Potentially that could throw them off weekly schedule. Wishful thinking, but I'm true 50-50. So I'm looking for any advantage. I don't see us winning at South Carolina. I forgot to bring that up when Sven was on. I definitely think, look, if you go to Minnesota and lose, I think South Carolina becomes a must-win.
Yeah.
In general, it's that month of – and again, I know Thunder and Lightning talked about this a lot. The month of September, you've got to be 3-1.
Yeah.
Realistically, to, 1, be on track to make bowl eligibility happen. 2, just for the fan base to even be bought in. Now, I think the Minnesota game, there's a level of that where it's like, okay, if you can't win at Minnesota – are you trusting to be able to win 4 conference games, which would be necessary to go to a bowl? Probably not. But then if you win that, if you lose that game, but then you turn around and win at South Carolina, I mean, I would have predicted 2-1 after the first 3 weeks. It's no different.
Yeah.
And you had 3-0, but then you had a loss to Missouri. So if you're 3-1 coming out of the month, regardless of which one of those games is, you're on track. Joshua Wright says John Kendall. Are you talking about Jason Candle as a potential name? If so, I know he came to Starkville and kicked our butts. Jason Candle's kind of a perennial underachiever when he was at Toledo.
Yeah.
He's at which is why he's at UConn now. Toledo is the one school in the MAC that should be able to have a good team every single year, should be able to win that league every single year, and he doesn't. He did not dominate that conference, which is why, again, he tried multiple times to go get OC jobs elsewhere. He tried to get the Miami OC job. There was some talk that State talked to him in 2023 as an OC candidate.
Mm-hmm.
And it's why he's at UConn instead of a power conference. I'm not saying he's a bad coach, but there's a little Ryan Silverfield to him, which is like why I doubt Ryan Silverfield at Memphis. Ryan Silverfield at Memphis, like that's a golden situation to have taken over. And he underachieved like mad for multiple seasons there, didn't start winning until the other good teams in the league left for the Big 12. And now he's supposed to go to Arkansas and make it work there when you're at one of the least resourced teams in the conference. Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of the same thing.
Talent identify. I mean, not Silverfield, but Jason Candle. His whole staff, they know how to identify talent, though. For
sure. The NFL players, especially the guys on defense.
Yes.
That have, which is, I think it's funny because he's an offensive coach, but they've gotten so many great defensive players. I guess a little Mullen-esque there in that standpoint, but yeah, not a guy that I'm super high on. If you guys have any more takes, if anybody wants to call in, by all means, we got a link in the description to the video as well as pinned at the top of the chat. But anything you guys have in the comments, we'll get to. I guess before we do our picks, though, just our own, since our final thoughts. I mean, where are you at going into this season, just in general, big picture for Mississippi State football?
Like, big picture, it's relatively the same. Really like where our wide receiver room is. Really like our running backs. Obviously, really like Mario. Want to get those still questions about the O-line. It's just more of a got to see it. And same with defense. Really like our linebackers. Really like the secondary. I'm starting to really like the D-line, but it's more just projection potential, I feel like. And with Zach Arnett, I'm pretty confident that he'll get it turned around. So right now, I'm in a really good spot. It seems like this is definitely, I mean, we saw the tweet earlier, it's definitely the most talented team that Levy has had. So I feel like this is really, really a crucial year for him where we're like, okay, it seems like you have enough talent to really make a big jump. So really good spot. It's just I'm just ready for kickoff, ready to see what they do. Not worried. I'm really not worried with like other like. Also, one thing that I'm not going to say I'm worried about that I do want to see. Probably my biggest concern is just Levy just taking that next step as a head coach. Game wherever that looks like game management on the field, being more like the CEO type, even though he is going to be a play caller. So yeah, I think that's really going to be the biggest key. If it doesn't seem like Levy has taken that next step as just being a true head coach instead of just a coordinator, then maybe there's a little concern. But I think this is a very talented team, definitely his most talented team. So I think this will be a good year to evaluate if he's the guy going forward.
Yeah, it is really as simple for me as, are they solid are they not even solid? Are they respectable on the offensive line? Are they respectable on the defensive line? If so, with everything else we think about this team, which what we think could be wrong, that could be the truth. But with everything else we think about this team, if you tell me that they are at least serviceable along both lines of scrimmage, I just think them not getting to a bowl game would be almost surprising, even with the schedule being as difficult as it is, because as you laid out, you feel like we don't feel like you have a big time quarterback, big time talent at quarterback. You have a big time talent at quarterback. Yeah. It's just a matter of how much of that talent do you tap into this year? That's kind of the question there. But you've got the special talent at quarterback who has shown you enough where you're confident he can play. Yeah. He can go out and make winning plays for you. You know you've got skill players. And look, could it be a question of, well, do they have a guy that can be as consistent as Brennan Thompson was on the outside? Maybe. But and look, to be fair, with Anthony Evans, we haven't seen him when he doesn't have Brennan on the outside to occupy some of the defenses. So what does that look like? I guess that would be like if you were to play devil's advocate, you would point that out. But I trust the receiver evaluation too much.
Yeah.
I trust their ability to run the football effectively when you have Fluff Bothwell and Kamario Taylor and a good stable of backs. And it sounds like especially the interior of the offensive line is coming along really well. So if you get good guard play, I'm going to think you can run the ball pretty effectively. Tight end is a question mark, but there's ways you can work around it. So I'm not really concerned there. I think, again, if the line is fine, that offense is going to be good, if not very good. Defensively, you've got guys in the secondary. It sounds like you have a proven cornerback one. They're very confident in Jet opposite of him. You have talent and experience at safety. You've got talented linebackers. Guys who have to perform better, but they're getting coached by a very good linebackers coach and have plenty of talent and plenty of athleticism. If the guys up front are any better within a better scheme, you're going to be better on defense. You're not going to be a defense that gets picked apart every single week. So if that's the team you're giving me, this team is going to win football games. And look, almost everyone's practice reports are going to be positive. Almost everybody's going to come out saying, oh, yeah, the both sides doing really well. We're seeing good growth and all that. But I don't think anybody around State is just BSing us when they tell us that State has improved in the places they need to improve. I feel pretty good that they're going to be successful. I'm glad for the clarification from Joshua Wright on that comment, because the comment he left above, I was wondering if he was asking something very different. With Levy, when I read that, I was like, what are you asking? Yeah, I think this team, the pieces are there for them to be a good football team. Yes, there are still a lot of things that have to come together. And I suppose if you're someone who wants to have doubts, that's what you would point to, is that, okay, even though as a fan you're really optimistic about all of these guys being good players, what is the odds that every single one of them is? Which is fair to bring up. But I don't know. I still feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, for sure. I was just looking at that comment and I was like, I saw you go like, kind of, I seen your eyes get big when you was talking. I was like, okay, somebody must have said something in the comments.
Yeah. From Joshua Wright, what he actually meant is Levy's game management the biggest question mark for this season. No, just because you have the line of scrimmage, you have to see it.
Yeah.
And now Levy's game management is after that. But what I will give him, or I'm going to give Levy some benefit of the doubt, trying to figure out how you need to manage things from a play-by-play standpoint, from a timeout standpoint, all that stuff. When you have a team that is just so wildly inconsistent and just lacks the personnel you need to be successful, that's not easy to do. Now, obviously, it's signs of a really good coach when you can do that, but Levy's it's a second year as a head coach. So I'm going to provide him a little bit of grace there. It's a question, and it is something that you do worry, is this going to hurt Mississippi State when it's all said and done? But I do understand, some of these decisions, as much as we can look at it and say, why did you not do this? I also kind of get some of the perspective of man, with this team, I got to take the chances I think I got to take.
Yeah. The biggest one is everybody always harps on the Florida the Florida decision, but I mean, we was killing them through the air, and then Ferry had missed a similar field goal at that same spot. So that's just really a tough one where it's just you're on the spot, time's running down. You think, okay, I can get a few extra yards, get inside the 20, and it'll be a chip shot for Ferry. So I do kind of get that one, but I also think some of it is just Levy just being he's still aggressive. I think that's still an aspect of it where he's just like, I'm just going to keep my foot on the pedal. So it's just something he has to learn. He is really young. I mean, he's a very young head coach. So it's just
some guys don't lose that. Mike Leach was still doing it at the end of his career.
It is true.
Some of the fourth downs Mike Leach would go for because it was just for him. Like he felt like punting was an insult. So
it's true. Some of it is just this is who I am, and some of it is some coaches do adapt. But I mean, we see it. Some of these guys get older; they're just stuck in their ways. So he's still young. So I think he still has a chance to maybe improve on that if he self-assesses. And he's with the former head coaches he brought in. I'm sure they're going to help him with that as well.
Yeah. So look, overall, we feel pretty good going into this year that State's going to be improved, that they're going to be fun to watch offensively and be consistently good offensively, that they're going to be improved enough defensively to be able to win some games, that they can be a bowl team. Are our thoughts beyond that? Not yet. We're not quite there talking about the 8+ wins that some are on, but I think the potential's certainly there if you get enough things to click your way. But if you tell me this team gets to a bowl game and looked good while doing it, really, really solid year.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's where they get to when it's all said and done. Real quick, we've got to do our picks here in a sec before we get out of here. But before we do get out of here, need to make sure I tell you guys about the incredible merchandise we have available over on the Voice of College Football Store. Lots of different teams represented. Just an example of some of that stuff. We'll go to the Fighting John Cohen's Auburn. Get the VOCF brand with those teams. No Mississippi State represented, but hey, if you got a fan of some of these other teams, you can check that stuff out. Perfect gift as we get ready for the college football season. Here's that heavyweight tee with the maroon color, the polo sweatshirt, and different drinkware. So all sorts of great stuff available at the Voice of College Football shop. Go get geared up for the upcoming football season. All right, we'll continue to take questions, and I guess if anybody wants to call in, you can. But it's time for Week 0 picks. College football back in action right now. There are FCS games taking place right as we're recording this, as well as some D2 games as well. But obviously FBS action kicks off this weekend. As we go throughout the season, Alex and I will make our picks each Thursday night for the weekend slate of games, primarily looking at the SEC, but any massive games nationally, we'll try to hit those as well as we make our picks. Most weeks we'll do 10 games, but there's only 8 FBS games being played in week 0. So we'll just pick all 8 of those. And we'll start off with a fun matchup out in Ireland as North Carolina and TCU will take on for the second straight season. Last year, TCU went into Chapel Hill and blasted Bill Belichick's Tar Heels in his first game as the head coach there. UNC needs to turn a lot of things around. It's kind of a mess there. TCU, a lot of overturn there. New OC, new quarterback. TCU, a substantial favorite in this game, 8.5 points. There is talk about some wet and windy conditions over in Ireland, as you would expect for a game in Ireland. So it could be a bit of a slop fest. Alex, how do you see this one playing out?
Yeah, I can't really – after seeing with last year with North Carolina, I can't really put that much faith that it's going to be a big year one turnaround. I do like TCU's quarterback, Jaden Craig. I think he's going to be a really good player. I'm taking TCU in this one, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's not even close. I mean, if you look at UNC's roster, it seems like most of the guys, which, I mean, teams do this, but most of their rosters, like, especially in the transfer portal, there's a lot of FCS guys. So I don't know if seems like Bill Belichick's doubling down on their strategy from last year. So we'll see if things has changed, but as of right now, I'm taking TCU.
Do you know who North Carolina's OC is?
I do not.
Bobby Petrino.
Oh, God, I forgot about that.
I wonder if he's giving Jordan a ride on his motorcycle.
Yeah, that's the
okay. That's the story I need. That Bobby gets caught with Belichick's girlfriend on a motorcycle. That's the story I need this year in college football.
Just two teams with drama. Well, I mean, TCU is new, but it's just two teams. It's just drama coming into the game.
So I actually think this is going to be a close game because it's the Ireland game, which seems stupidly close every single year outside of when Notre Dame played Navy. And I would be very tempted to pull the trigger on UNC because every year we go into the Ireland game and one of these teams has expectations to have a good year. TCU is that team this year, facing a team that I guess last year Iowa State was not expected to be terrible, but still Kansas State was the team everybody was hyping in the Big 12 after Texas Tech, and then Iowa State wins the game. And before that, it was Georgia Tech taking down Florida State. Before that, it was Nebraska losing to Northwestern, the only game Northwestern would win that entire season. I can't do it. I'm going to take TCU just because I can't trust North Carolina at all. But I think this game is going to get weird. Comment here. Levy was handed a complete mess and starting from scratch in year one. There was clear improvement year 1 to 2. You Levy haters, what is the reason for win-loss? What is a reasonable win-loss for year 3? I think if he goes 6-6, which I hope I'm not being one of the Levy haters. I'll admit, at the end of last season, I was a little bit of a Levy hater in some group chats, but I've cleared some of that again. If he goes 6-6 and looks good while doing it, I'm not going to be upset. The losing record thing, it just, I don't know. I go back and forth on it. I don't think you can be 4-8. 5-7, I would leave it at like a 25-30% chance he'd be back. And I don't know that anybody would be confident whatsoever. It'd be kind of the same situation you're in right now. But I could see the school selling that, like, okay, there's still a world.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say I'm comfortable with 5-7, but depending on what it looks like if he's let go at 5-7, it's just the school needs to have a plan like already in place, which, I mean, that's something you do. That's probably something you start doing now where you're just like, okay, worst case scenario. So that's my only concern. 6-6, definitely, bring them back. But my biggest concern is just having a plan. Like we've seen these schools where just they let go of, I mean, better coaches in better situations, and then they end up being in worse situations right after, and they're still looking for something. So it just seems like some of these places, when they let a coach go, they don't really have a plan. They're just like, all right, okay, what's next? So as long if they let them go, if they have a decent plan, then okay. But 6-6 definitely.
Yeah. All right, second game. Probably not going to give much thought to a few of these, and this is one of them. San Jose State taking on number 14 USC. Hey, shout out to Ken Niumatalolo, a very good coach. Fun offense to watch at San Jose State with the oh god, what are they?
The Spartans?
No. There's the name they have for the offense. They run it's like a modernized run and shoot. So like they took the run and shoot, but like have adapted it a little bit. There's like some air raid elements, but it's a little bit like some other. I forgot what they've called it. I forgot the name of the Stutzman is the OC. I keep up with a lot of weird offensive coaches.
Spread and shred? Is it
spread and shred? Yeah, that's what it is. I keep up with a lot of up and coming OCs. That's one of my nerdy things for college football. And that being said, I don't suspect either of us are taking the Spartans here.
Yeah, it's USC. If USC lose this one, then it's there's somebody's hitting the red button. So yeah, it's USC.
This is a fun game though. NC State at Virginia. Virginia coming off an 11-win season. NC State trying. Dave Doran kind of on the hot seat. A lot of their fans are kind of getting fed up with the same thing every single year. Some optimism, though, with C.J. Bailey and NC State. It's Bo Perbula at quarterback for the Hoos. Virginia with a bunch of guys injured for this game. I don't know if y'all saw the injury report going around on Twitter the other day. Who are you taking here?
This is a tough one. Really not too knowledgeable about Virginia's roster situation, but I mean that injury report coming out is scary. I do like C.J. Bailey. I think he's definitely one of the top quarterbacks in the country. So just based off of that, I mean, Bo Perbula was kind of up and down at Mizzou, and then it's coming off an injury. So, I mean, what does that look like? So I think I'm going to take NC State here.
I'm also taking NC State. And look, I think Virginia will be a fine team this year. I think they'll be another bowl team. Tony Elliott has – when talking about, weird situation, obviously his first year he had players get shot and killed.
Yeah.
And he's been able to rebound from that. But there's just – it kind of feels like anytime you have a team like that has a big breakthrough season, there's a little bit of a reset. And with the players out, I also don't trust Pribula, even if they're just going to run him a bunch.
Yeah.
I'll take NC State. It is a sellout at Scott Stadium in Charlottesville. Their first time selling out a game since 2008, which is kind of crazy because they had some good teams under Bronco Mendenhall. I'm surprised they didn't have sellouts then, but we'll both be with the Wolfpack. This is a fun one. Jacksonville State at North Dakota State. The Bison, their first game. I've been forgetting point spreads, by the way. Not that we're picking against the spread, but Virginia is a 4.5-point favorite. So we're both picking an underdog there. North Dakota State, 6.5-point favorites at home against Jacksonville State. The Bison, their first game as an FBS program, going to be rocking inside the Fargo Dome. But Jack State has a fun quarterback, Caden Creel returning. They did lose a lot of their other pieces on offense, but they have a receiver who's like 6'8", 220 pounds, and runs a 4.4. So that's fun. This could be an interesting game. Who are you taking?
Yeah, this is very tough. I mean, I really just like North Dakota State in general, just the way they run their offense, the way they run their program. I think their quarterback's been there for 3-4 years. He's been there for a while. I think it's going to be his first year starting. But, I mean, it just seems like they got it down packed where we've seen it with Carson Wentz to Easton Stick and then to Trey Lance. So I feel like they figured out how to recruit quarterbacks, how to develop quarterbacks. I think I'm going to take North Dakota State in this one.
I've got the Bison as well. Jack State could be one of the better teams in the CUSA, is one of the favorites to win that league. North Dakota State could be one of the better teams within the Mountain West.
Yeah.
But that's just a really tough road trip going from Jacksonville, Alabama, all the way up to Fargo. That's a very tough place to play, very loud environment. Probably different than where Jacksonville State has been. I mean, I get it. Jacksonville State has played in FBS or SEC stadiums before, stuff like that. But I think it's a little bit different when it's a game where, not to insult any of the players, I have to think there's a little bit of a mindset of these games. A game like this is different than probably when you're a team like Jacksonville State walking into an SEC stadium, unless it's Oxford where they've won before. So I'll take the Fargo Dome Magic as well. So no differences for us to our first 4 games, 4 more to go. Sacramento State taking on Eastern Michigan. Sac State, another team moving up from the FCS ranks. For some reason, joining the MAC. We have Northern Illinois in the Mountain West. We have Sacramento State in the MAC. Because why? College football.
Yeah.
EMU, Chris Creighton has been the model of consistency there. Very good. One of those very good MAC coaches that people don't understand. Hey, when he goes 5-7, 6-6, that's a good year there. Really solid, consistent program. Sac State, year 1. I don't even know who their coach is because Brennan Marion's out in Colorado. Who you taking?
Yeah, I got to take Eastern Michigan on this one. Sac State lost a lot, and I think for them, they're not a program like North Dakota State where I could see them having, pretty decent success their first year being FBS. I think it's going to be more of a transition. So I definitely take an Eastern Michigan in this one.
Yeah, the Emus are 9.5-point favorites. I also have them getting the win. Which, speaking of that with Sac State, though, their whole thing was they got all this big funding to make the move up, which is I think they're not taking I think they're paying conference dues or whatever. It's something weird they have, but their whole thing is they were trying to go sign a bunch of 4 and 5 stars or whatever. I have no idea how that's gone for them. I understand for some of these guys, it's literally just go sign for where you're going to get paid the most. But I also think there's a lot of very good players who are I need to see you do something before I choose. I'm going to go there.
Yeah, they had a kid from Mississippi, Xavier McDonald, committed for a long time, but after they kind of imploded, he joined Billy Napier and James Madison. So
there you go. Hawaii at Stanford. These teams have played quite a bit recently. Last year, out on the Big Island, Hawaii got the win. Michael Alejado still there at quarterback. There is talk their top receiver, though, in their run and shoot offense may not be ready to go. Also, their number one receiver from a year ago, Jackson Harris, is now at LSU. Stanford, I know nothing about him other than that it's Tavita Pritchard. Year one for him as the head coach with Andrew Luck. Not really a coach, but kind of a coach. Yeah. He's the GM, but he might as well be coaching. I'll go ahead and I'll take Stanford at home just because I think you got to beat Hawaii if you're Stanford. You're not going to get a lot of wins this year, but I'll definitely be pulling for the Bows.
Yeah, I'm taking Stanford as well. Seems like they've kind of I know Andrew Luck's harped about how improved the trenches are, so we'll see. But as of right now, I'm taking Stanford.
Stanford a 3.5-point favorite at home.
Which is wild.
Yeah. New Mexico State taking on the Seminoles. It would be funny, but I'm sure there's probably some people around Tallahassee that are like, go ahead and get it over with so we can just cut bait. But if you're Florida State, you need to win this one and win big, and they should. New Mexico State's not very good, so Florida State should win this game.
Yeah, definitely taking Florida State. We'll see. Maybe we'll see how the Ashton Daniels show gets off. But, yeah, there's not a lot of happy people in Tallahassee.
The Noles, massive favorites in that one. And then maybe the game of the day.
Yeah, definitely.
The nightcap at 9 o'clock Central Time. Dan Mullen versus Charles Huff. UNLV hosts Memphis. We've been doing all this coach candidate talk. This one State fans probably gonna have their eyes closed on. Depending on how this season looks for State, you might look back at that first game and like, all right, who won that one? Charles Huff, year one after his brief stint at Southern Miss, he's now going to take on another. Played the Bulldogs last year. Now going to take on a former Bulldogs coach to open up the season from a former Bulldog assistant. Brought over Kevin Decker as his OC from Old Dominion. Decker runs the veer and shoot. He's kind of an interesting guy. He's at Fordham, where Fordham post Joe Moorhead for a long time was just running running Joe Moorhead's offense because they had a lot of success with it. And then Decker during COVID, because FCS, all of their stuff was shut down. He was just trying to he started studying Josh Heupel, UCF, that offense, and just implemented it. And they started running it really well. They have one of the coolest run games you'll see. The stuff they do within that offense with the quarterback run game and stuff is really neat. I think State should apply some of that this year with Mario Taylor. Anyway, they just named is it Stokes is his name?
Marcus Stokes.
Marcus Stokes, starting quarterback. West Florida transfer, previously committed to Florida when he was in high school before he got a scholarship pulled because he said some words he's not supposed to say. But a talented player who was very good down at the D2 ranks recently, who's now at Memphis within that offense. And they brought over a bunch of Southern Miss transfers, I think some Old Dominion transfers. So they got some pieces there. Mullen, it's completely new, that roster just about. They lost a lot of their guys from last year. But it is either Jackson Arnold or Anthony Orji at quarterback. Two guys that cannot throw the football, but both can run. It's going to be a fun game to watch. Who are you taking?
Oh, this one's hard. What's the spread on it? What is the spread?
4.5 for UNLV.
Yeah, I think I might have to. This one's hard. Yeah, Charles Huff he's shown year one that he can win. He did it at Southern Miss and then dipped. Was at Marshall and was very successful at Marshall. And then it's just with the quarterback situation, UNLV. But I've seen Dan Mullen work magic in a 2-quarterback system, so I would not be surprised if they're just cooking. So right now, I think I'm gonna have to take. I think I'm gonna take Memphis to win it.
It'll be our first disagreement. I'm taking UNLV. I said they're starting over. They do have a few more guys back. It's not complete. I think their running back is returning. That's not me withholding information from you. If you would like to knock yourself out.
I think I was going to go with Memphis.
I was trying to read some UNLV stuff last night, just as what's that kind of look like? It's Mullen. They're going to run the football well. That's kind of just trust that, especially if you got two quarterbacks who can't throw. Mullen just put them on the field at the same time, and they'll just run the option to each other. I'll take Mullen to get it done. As Dan continues making his case for a return to the power conference ranks. Which, I mean, Charles Huff is going to do the same thing as he's trying to speed run it back to the Power Conference ranks himself. This is going to be a really fun game, though, and massive implications for the
playoffs,
six playoff. So probably the biggest playoff implications of any game, week 0. So to recap, we both took TCU over North Carolina out in Ireland. Both took USC to beat San Jose State. Both took NC State to upset Virginia on the road. North Dakota State at home over Jack State. Eastern Michigan over Sacramento State. Stanford over Hawaii. Florida State over New Mexico State. Our one disagreement, I've got UNLV beating Memphis. Alex has the Tigers getting the win over the Rebels. So we'll see how that plays out. We will be back on Monday. And Monday is going to be game preview time for the ULM Warhawks. We will tell you everything you need to know about ULM going into week 1's matchup. Mississippi State kicking off the season. So obviously we recently did a ULM preview on the channel as our opponent preview type stuff. It'll be a lot of the same information, but a little bit of a closer look at the matchup for Mississippi State. Obviously, it's Mississippi State taking on a Sun Belt team and a poor Sun Belt team. They should handle business. But still, we'll dive into it, give some of our thoughts on what we want to see out of the Bulldogs specifically beyond simply winning the game easily. What are some things we're going to be watching for in that game? So our full week 1 breakdown coming Monday, 6 p.m. Central Time right here on the channel. And then 1 week from tonight, next Thursday, it'll be a call-in show. We'll have our week 1 picks, get y'all's thoughts ahead of State's season opener. College football's back, y'all. We have made it. The offseason has concluded officially. We're done.
No more football back. No more drama talk, just straight football. Let's just talk football from now on.
Don't say that. Tomorrow there's going to be a new lawsuit over bringing players who retired in 1996. They have the ability to come play again.
I'm going to ignore it.
That's what's going to be happening.
We'll save the drama for the week of September 19th. That's when all the drama is going to be back in full effect.
Yeah. Appreciate everyone for tuning in and being a part of the live chat. Glad to have the go back and forth. Shout out to Spin for the call in. If you guys enjoyed this, please leave us a like on the video. Comment down below. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already and have those notifications turned on so you do know when we do go live or whenever there's new content posted to the channel. And be sure to tell all your friends about what we're doing here at Mississippi State Live. Tell them to come be a part of the action. We will see you all next time. As always, swing your sword and hail State.